Good morning and welcome to A Closer Look. I'm your host, Linda Fontaine. Today, my guest is Brenda Barnicky, founder and owner of Bellinia Chocolates and president, I might add. You're everything there.
Thank you for having me on. It's great to be here this morning.
Well, thank you for coming on. Now, I know that Bellinia Chocolates is a gourmet chocolate company in downtown Kingsport, and boy, do I know that because I live downtown. I love it. But tell us, for those who don't know about Bellinia, tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so as you said, we're a gourmet chocolate company. We make all of our chocolates fresh to order right there in downtown Kingsport. But what's really unique about us is that 100% of our profits go to children's charities.
I love that.
Yes, and we're driven almost entirely by volunteers, plus a few jobs that we've created for single mothers and women in recovery or who have fled abuse situations, women who need somebody to believe in them and help them get a leg up in the workforce.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. And I might add, those chocolates are really delicious. And I love some of the flavors you've come up with on your own.
Yes.
I mean, my favorite, by far, well, what I should say is I shouldn't say it's my favorite because I don't really go out of the way to eat any of the others because I love the dark moonshine chocolate so much.
Yes, so the dark chocolate moonshine is actually our signature flavor.
I didn't know that.
It is. We have it in our regular boxes, but we actually carry these mason jars of the dark chocolate moonshine.
I did not know that.
Yes, and people love to send them to out-of-town gifts because you can't ship a jar of moonshine, but it's a very East Tennessee thing, right? So we use the Hook and Ladder moonshine right there on Broad Street, yes. Yeah, so we have, in our mixed boxes, we have all sorts of flavors. We have an espresso and a Simply Dark with little cocoa nibs. We made a special Long Island iced tea.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so last summer when
in honor of the contest.
Yes. So we just made a batch of that this morning. It's amazing. And we have seasonal flavors as well. We're doing a pumpkin spice one with Abingdon olive oil this month.
I think that's cool how you're incorporating local businesses.
Yes, we love to do local, so we source our ingredients at local as best we can, and we even grow a few things in the summertime in our patio garden. Some of the herbs and things and fruits that come out of our garden actually end up in our truffles as well.
I love that. Yeah. That's great. Well, tell me, how did this concept of Bellinia Chocolates come to be? You just always loved chocolate, and then you decided to make it a hobby, and then it grew, but how did that all happen?
Yeah, so you are right. I've been obsessed with chocolate my entire life. It's a bad thing, but when you can turn your obsession into a career, that's a good thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I was actually full-time. I was a vice president at Eastman at the time I started up the company.
Wow.
So it was just intended to be a little hobby. It was something I did in my kitchen. The state of Tennessee had a program where you could certify your kitchen at the time. It grew and grew and grew, and a couple of years into it, I actually lost my job and was going to get another one, but I just kept getting drawn back to wanting to spend the second half of my career giving back more, and I just loved this little chocolate company and loved running the business myself. So it's always been 100% for charity. But once I went full-time as a full-time volunteer and we got the building down in downtown Kingsport, it has just mushroomed. It's really growing fast, which is great.
That is great.
Yes.
And it is downtown. It's at 123 Cherokee Street.
It is.
And I know that because that's a really easy thing for me to remember.
That's right.
It's across from the dog park, and when my pups were still alive, they both died last year, unfortunately. But I would always be at the dog park looking over at the chocolate shop. Like the dogs looked at a bone, I'd be staring at the chocolate shop. But it's a really easy address for people to remember, and you've got a beautiful mural on the side of the building. Yes,
there was a great team of artists, I want to say 2 years ago. The city of Kingsport helped sponsor it, and we had Ellen Elms and several of the art teachers from the school system and some volunteers do it, and it's a beautiful bright mural with rainbows and butterflies and but it also tells the story of Bellinia and the mission. So right up in the front there's a little sign that kind of explains the symbolism behind behind the mural. So
I did not know that.
Yeah,
I look at it all the time and I love it, but I did not know there was a story to it.
yeah, and it's actually become a bit of a selfie spot. We have people taking their prom pictures in front of it and their high school graduation pictures. And
Great idea.
yeah, yeah.
I love that you do all that. I remember when you got that spot, because I was working at the gallery, and you would come in and talk to Cindy and stuff, and you were coming up with ideas for decor on the inside. And I think it was Cindy who said, why don't you have chocolate dripping down the walls,
Yes.
you know, like painting. And you're like, love it. And I was like watching all this come to be. I was just sitting there going, that's great.
Well, what's funny about that building is it used to be where the city's road construction crews were for years and years and years.
That's right.
And so the city was going to tear down the building, and then they weren't, and then they were, and it never happened. So when we got it, they had let the police department do their training exercises in there. So they would put on their paintball guns and their canine units and storm the place.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so there was a little bit of work to do.
Yes, just a little.
I
think a lot of work.
Yes, but it looks amazing, and we
It
do
does.
have chocolate dripping down the walls in the shop. It's
I
great.
think that's cute.
Yeah.
And I notice inside the shop you also have other goods for sale, some of the things that people for other causes might be selling from other countries and things.
Yes, that's right. So we support a couple of dozen different children's charities at any given time, and a lot of them are overseas orphanages, for example. And so some of them, either the charities themselves, like the kids in the charities, will make things, and some of them the ladies in the village will make them in order to support that orphanage and support the school fees and so on. So like, for example, we support Belize Votech, which is a school in Belize for abandoned boys.
Oh.
And they give them a basic education as well as a trade. And one of the trades that they teach them is woodworking or construction. And so in their woodworking classes, they make these beautiful cutting boards and coasters and little boxes and stuff. And so we sell some of those in the shop, and 100% of the proceeds go back to support the school.
I love that. See,
Yeah.
when people, I think, learn about that, the story behind the items and the charity, it makes you feel a little closer to them, makes it feel more personal,
Yes.
makes you want to give a little bit more. So when I go in there, it's like I'm always looking, what can I buy? Because I just want to help.
Yes.
You know, and at the same time, you're getting a nice little gift or something for someone.
Well, and they do make great gifts because the things that the kids have made, we have a little card that tells a little bit about that orphanage or that particular children's ministry. And then also in our chocolate boxes, there's a card that says 100% of the profits go to children's charities. It actually has a photo of one of the children that we support. And we ship across the U.S., so they make great gifts. We do corporate gifts as well. And they make great Valentine gifts as well.
Hint, hint.
Hint, hint, guys.
So you have to buy the chocolate and all the goods, well, buy the chocolate ingredients and the goods and all that. And so once all that is taken care of, whatever you have left, how do you choose which charity you're going to give the money to?
Yeah, so 100% of our profits after we've paid the
Yes.
light bill and and for the chocolate and so on go to children's charities. It's all focused on children suffering from disease, poverty, abuse, or neglect. So locally, it would be things like CASA for Kids, a sliding scale preschool programs. There's a great one at the YWCA in Bristol. And places like that. Children Exceeding Expectations in Bristol is a school for kids who have cancer.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The local affiliate of St. Jude.
At Niswonger.
Yes, at Niswonger in Johnson City. But we also do national and international charities as well. So I mentioned the orphanages. So Serving Orphans Worldwide in Bristol actually connects us with some 50 different orphanages around the world. And what I love about funneling our contributions through them is that they actually have the staff that can go visit every orphanage every year or two and make sure that the kids are being taken care of and that the money is being used wisely and that sort of thing. We also support Kudavana, which actually one of the children at Kudavana has done this art box here.
Oh, I love that.
And
this one here. Oh, I love that.
They are they're an orphanage in Zimbabwe, but they have a really unique approach in that they have, instead of one large home, they have kind of family homes. It's a whole compound or a ring of small residences, and each one has a mama and an auntie, and they have children that stay there from all the way from when they're babies till they grow up and they're 18 years old, and they go on and get a job, just like a family would be.
Yes.
They have a family garden, they do things as a family, and so they really try to replicate the families that,
what a neat
that you and I
idea.
have. It is, and it's a Christian-based orphanage, and some of the things they do are just amazing. And they, of course, Zimbabwe is having some very difficult times right now, a lot of unrest right there, but the kids are safe. I talked to the lady earlier this week, and they're out in the country.
You're so good to keep up with all that. You're such
well,
a
they do
blessing.
amazing work. I mean, we just
you
make
just
chocolate.
raise some money
Yeah, we just make
and
chocolate.
give it to them so that they can eat. I mean, don't belittle what you do. You make a lot of what they do possible.
Yeah, but we have a wonderful time. I mean, if you want to do a ministry or give back in a way that is very joyful and not hard at all, you can't do better than making chocolate in beautiful downtown Kingsport.
You're right about that, and your
Yeah.
chocolate is so good.
Oh,
You
thank
know,
you.
and you mentioned Casa. I had Mary on the show. She's going to be on the show,
Oh,
and
awesome.
interviewed her the other day because I'm going to be the incoming president for Casa. But it's near and dear to my heart too, and it's our favors every year.
Yes.
You give a couple of Bellafina chocolates. Everybody at their place has Red Shoe Gala, a little bag with a couple Bellafina chocolates in it, and that's such a nice little takeaway for us. And that is so special that you do that.
Well, I love what they do. I mean, it really tugs at your heart, and it's the kind of thing that not everybody can do. I mean, the volunteers at CASA that are working with the families and advocating for the children, I personally couldn't do that. I don't have.
You know, it is. We're blessed to have those advocates. Yes, we are.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break right there. We're going to be back in just a minute. See, we're on a roll here. We'll be back in just a minute after these messages and talk to Brenda some more about Bellafina chocolates.